All right, we are on chapter 4, entitled I Have the Best Mom. Yep, I do. Gotta show you the picture. This is Mom with her little revolver. At the bottom it says, "You're pretty scared, aren't you?" If you might notice, the background here is my house. Yay! Also a little picture of Grandma when she was about 14 years old. It says, "My mom is a woman like no other. She gave me life, nurtured me, taught me, dressed me, fought for me, held me, kissed me, but most importantly, she loved me unconditionally. There are not enough words to describe just how important my mother is to me and what a powerful influence she continues to be. Mom, I love you." One day I had a horrible stomach ache. I lay on the couch on my mother's lap as she rubbed my stomach. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on the couch alone. Mom rubbed my stomach until she soothed me to sleep. I was about 5 years old, but the memory hasn't left me. Lori, Ginny, and I were playing in the bottom of the old garage on our property in town. Our neighbor girls, Janet and Vicky Woolworth, were playing with us. We were having the best time, but I got upset over something. I was holding a small child's rake, and I swung it at Vicky and hit her on the shoulder with all of my 6-year-old strength. And her nose started bleeding. How could that be? I'd hit her on the shoulder. Lori ran to the house to tell Mom. Now, you might all remember that Mom had quite a powerful arm. Oh, let's see. She led me back to the house, not saying a word. Then she sat down and asked me what happened. I told her I didn't hit Vicky in the face, but on the shoulder. Mom told me I should probably stay inside and sent me upstairs to play. She was so kind and gentle, but I, to this day, can't figure out how Vicky got a bloody nose when I only hit her on the shoulder. Mom was the best cook in the world. Her dinners were delicious. We didn't get a lot of desserts because at that time, desserts weren't expected at every meal, at least not at our house, and my family was very frugal. Mom's pie was to die for. I still use her pie crust recipe. So do I. That it's also being used by grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She also made the best Johnny cake. Johnny cake is the best cornbread going. No one made biscuits like Mom. They must be cut in a special way, though, to taste as good as they do. You must use the handle of a spoon to cut them and then shape them by hand. Any other way is cheating. One time, Mom made Mexican wedding cakes, and there's a picture of Mexican wedding cakes there. They were melt-in-the-mouth cookies that couldn't be beat. Every day for about a week, I'd come home to Mexican wedding cakes. We'd laugh and we'd just eat them all up. Since this was a very unusual experience for us, we'd gobble them down and clean up the evidence before Dad came home, so he wouldn't know we were gorging ourselves on those special cookies. Oh, they were good. Now that I'm gluten intolerant, I can't have them, but I still have the memory of the cookies, or of the week of the cookies. In high school, Mom was voted the prettiest girl as a senior. She was a cheerleader, a junior prom queen, a drama queen, and not drama queen, in the drama club. That's funny. Drama queen. No, she was in the drama club and so many other things. She carried her love for drama throughout her life. And there is a picture of her there. And it says, "Dressed to entertain." One time at age 86, Mom entertained us with one of her high school cheers. It wasn't the kind of cheerleading we see now, where the cheerleaders have to be gymnasts. This was simply a rah, rah, rah cheer. So sweet. Mom and Dad were high school sweethearts. Dad was the sort of man that if you got too close to his girl, you might get thumped. Dad entered their high school as a senior, nearly 19 years old. He spotted Mom and made it really clear that she was his girl, and that never changed. Once I was visiting their home in Cottage Grove, Oregon, and Mom left in a little Volkswagen Bug to go to the store. Dad stood looking out the window of the door, watching her leave, and said under his breath, "Oh, I love that woman." It says, Mom in the middle, and Dad right behind her. So that's Grandma and Grandpa, Stannard. The little caption also says Dramatics Club. That was the picture. Okay, August 19th, 1940 is what this picture is. There. And that was 3 weeks after Mom's 17th birthday and 1 month before Dad's 20th birthday, as they were getting married. As adults, Mom and Dad belonged to a group called the Nanny How Players. They put on several plays a year in our town, and Mom and Dad very often starred in them. Once they were the only 2 players in the whole play. When Mom was preparing for a play, she'd ask me to help her by reading the other parts of her as she practiced. The other parts to her as she practiced. I think I saw most of their plays. They had a good group of friends for many years, from the players until they quit serving alcohol at our house. Then their friends sort of dried up. No pun intended, I'm sure. Let's see a picture of applying makeup before a play there. And it says, both Mom and Dad used their drama talents when they served as missionaries in Nauvoo. Oh, I remember that. That was awesome. They loved the Nauvoo Playhouse, and their performances were a real hoot. I love that word too, hoot. I was blessed to see them perform when we went to Nauvoo with our 11 children packed into a van in 1986. Mom had one especially novel act. She came on stage as a hillbilly and was trying to blow out a candle. No matter what she did, she couldn't blow out the candle. She twisted her mouth in such a way that she could blow out the side, down to her chin, up her forehead, but she couldn't figure out how to blow straight ahead to blow out the candle. Each time she tried, she said, "Clem, I can't blow out this here candle." She tried until she was nearly crying at Clem, and the audience loved it. In Wellsville, Mom also had her own radio show. That's kind of fun. Hints for Homemakers, it was called. We had a radio station in our town with coverage throughout the whole southern tier of New York, WLSV. Every week, Mom prepared for her show by scouring books and magazines for helpful hints. Oh, she certainly would have loved the internet. But she put the hints together, or after she put them together, she spent hours rehearsing, so everything she said fit into a certain period of time. I don't remember if it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It may have been longer, but she perfected that show every single week. Shows a picture of the radio station right there. And while in Wellsville, Mom was very involved in the Order of the Eastern Star, the women's organization in New York for the Masons. Whenever the Eastern Star had an initiation, she dressed in the most beautiful white ball gown, and Dad dressed in a tuxedo. What a good-looking pair. For years, Mother wore a house dress. When she moved to the country, she started wearing slacks all the time. What an interesting change. When she lived on Mapes Road, we had a couple large gardens. Mom would get out on the neighbor's tractor and plow them up. They didn't work well in a house dress, or that didn't work well in a house dress. Mom quit plowing when she found out that a neighbor was watching her from a half-mile distance using his binoculars. Mom canned her beans and froze other food every year. Delicious. After a few years, she gave up on the vegetable gardens totally. One garden area became horse pasture, and the other became a swimming pool. Here's a picture of celebrating his mom's birthday on Mapes Road in Wellsville. That one right there. Mom loved flower gardening. Even though we were 7 miles out of town and almost no one saw them, she still put lots of pretty flowers along the patio and in a couple large strips out back. She worked in the flower gardens a lot, weeding and watering them. Throughout her life, Mom enjoyed tending houseplants. She tried to grow houseplants from starts, and she babied the leaves from African violets until she could force the roots. Mom, by nature, was a nurturer. Mom's goodness was exemplified by the service she gave. She was always doing things for people, helping them, cooking for them. She really cared about people. After we joined the church in Wellsville, Sister Lang, a little old blind lady who lived alone, was baptized. Mom took her under her wing and became a daughter to Sister Lang. And that's the way it always was. If someone needed anything, Mom was always there. Mom pretty much taught herself to play the piano. She had about 6 months of lessons, and she was invaluable when we attended the small, very small branch in Wellsville. She played the piano there, and when she went to a larger ward, she played the organ. She taught herself to do that also. A picture of Grandma playing the organ. Mom was the first one to sign up and the last one to leave an event. She was so generous with her time and talents. One time, Mom and I did a reader's theater together, just the two of us. With a reader's theater, the presenters are to stand in front of the audience and read the play with some emphasis and expression. Not Mom. She memorized her part. She really put me to shame, but what a wonderful job she did. She was given a huge applause afterwards. When Dad retired, Mom agreed to cash in all of their insurance policies and all of Dad's retirement to serve 2 missions in Nauvoo. I didn't recognize they sacrificed like that for that purpose. That's really cool. They trusted the Lord would take care of them. And he did. Afterwards, and he did, it says. No one else in their mission sacrificed what they did to serve. No one. And I got that information from their mission president. Here's a picture of Grandma in Nauvoo between 1983 and 86. So it's right there. Okay, let's see. She's wearing a party hat, which was an ice cream jug. And while they were gone in Nauvoo, they rented their house to a couple who were really struggling. To save the couple from using church welfare, Mom and Dad rented the whole house to them for $50 a month. After a couple of months, the couple quit paying the rent, so Mom and Dad had nothing from the house to cover utilities and taxes. They quietly paid for it out of their pockets. Mom was in the bakery 70s hall and did candle making throughout their 3 years in Nauvoo. While Dad was the village blacksmith shop and made pottery. They lived in the upstairs of the John Taylor home. When Mom and Dad returned home, they moved from Oregon to the Salt Lake area and served some more, first at Temple Square, and then for years in the temple, with only Social Security to sustain them. Or so they thought. Wink, wink. Elder and Sister Stannard in their Temple Square mission attire. The blessing of all blessings came when Dad and Mom moved in with us. They had their own living quarters, small as they were. They lived for us for 9 and 10 years. They both died in the same bedroom and are buried in the West Jordan City Cemetery. Dad died in 2009, Mom in 2010. Initially, they planned on donating their bodies to science at the University of Utah, but Dad was so bloated that when he died, the U couldn't use his body, so he had to be buried. Mom was so afraid to be buried, so I told her we would buy plots right next to theirs. Mom immediately calmed down and accepted burial. And this shows there at the West Jordan City Cemetery, the little bench that is their headstone. Before Mom died, she was distressed because she couldn't do any family history work. I asked her to take her many albums of pictures and add the names of each person in the picture. She gladly did it and provided all of us with the names and pictures of so many of our relatives. We wouldn't know who most of those people are if Mom hadn't done that important work. Her albums would be worthless to us and could be thrown away except for the hours she took to add names to the pictures. What a grand work she did. Many will rise up and call her blessed. And there's several pictures where Grandpa and Grandma were sealed in 1967. And mother's bracelet is at the top. And the bottom picture is about a third of Mom's bell collection. I remember that bell collection. It was impressive. I think everywhere they went, they would get a bell. And then finally, Mom's first bell came from North Africa while Dad was serving there in the Navy during World War II. And there's the bell. And that's it.